So I am Kathryn. I've been part of the church since 2004. I am wife to Mark and mum to Zach and Neve, and currently I serve Deaf Hope, our deaf community, on a Sunday.
And you had a physical challenge, didn't you, due to an accident. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I was 15 when I had an ice skating accident and I damaged my spine, specifically the discs and the nerves, and that left me with chronic pain and instability with walking. So the pain was there every day from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, to varying degrees, but always impacting daily life to a point that it affected what I could do, and it affected how much I could work. I still did get to do what I wanted to do and be a teacher, but it impacted that on a daily basis as well.
Tell us a bit about pushing in to God, pushing into Jesus for healing and restoration. What was that journey like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Christian since I was a teenager. Before my accident, I gave my life to Jesus, and I think until I got to Kerith, I didn't really know about healing and praying for healing in the same way that I now understand it. And so when there would be an opportunity to go forward for prayer, I would. And then there were small things along the way where God broke in and gave me strength in a situation where I needed it. But on the whole, I still lived with the physical pain and the emotional pain that then followed. And I would go forward for prayer and people would pray for me and I wouldn't be healed. And I wrestled for many years with that, the disappointment of that and the difficulty of why wasn't God healing me. Living with pain every day does wear you down and you become a little bit almost resolute that it's part of who you are. It becomes part of your identity. I was registered disabled, I had a mobility car, I walked with a walking stick, I had a mobility scooter. It just became part of who I was and part of my life, and so I became kind of accepting of it to an extent.
So how did you encounter Jesus in his healing power?
So I went to a prayer meeting and the leader called us to pray into our disappointments for unanswered prayer. So I started praying about something that had not been answered, that I've been asking God for, and alongside me was my dear friend Anne, and she was praying into her disappointment about having prayed for my healing and had not seen answer. And something happened in me in that moment, and I saw a revelation, if you like, of the pain that my pain had caused in someone else, and God just did something in my heart. And before, I'd gone forward for prayer, genuinely wanting God to heal me, but with a reservation of, but what if you do? There was a fear that if you heal me, my whole identity changes, my whole life changes. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. So I would go forward and I genuinely would want God to heal me, but there was something I think I always held back from him. And in that moment, the revelation of the pain that my pain had caused in someone else just broke that. And I said, God, whatever. I'm frightened because I don't know what it will look like, but whatever you want to do, if you want to heal me, then heal me. And in that instant, there was a fire inside my body that kind of reached down into my feet so much that my feet were hurting. They felt like they were on fire. And I bent down to take my shoes off. And Anne turned to me, looked and said, you haven't bent. Kathryn, you're bending. And I hadn't bent like that for 7 years. In that moment, all the pain went. From that day forward, I didn't take any of my medications. I didn't walk with a walking stick. And I gave back all of the support systems that I'd had. I had to tell disability that I didn't need it anymore. That was a tricky conversation because the computer doesn't like it. And life changed in an instant.
So, Kathryn, what difference did it make to be physically healed?
Okay, so from that moment, I never had any pain again. And life changed completely. The first 6 months were quite disorientating, and there were moments of difficulty, but also so many moments of joy. I remember the first time that I chased after Neve after I was healed, and she ran away from me and I ran after her, and she stopped in her tracks and turned around and looked at me as if to say, you're not meant to be able to do that. And there were loads of moments of joy, and living all of a sudden, without limitations, I found myself a little bit overwhelmed. But that's another story, I think.
And so, Kathryn, what would you say to someone who's pushing into Jesus for their own healing, or maybe pressing into him for someone they know and love? What would you say to them?
Keep asking, keep going forward for prayer. Take all of it and give it to him. I think for me, what changed that day was I said, I'm frightened of what it will look like, but you have your will anyway.